Hello, everyone. This is going to be a bit different. I want to say hello, Razor, if you're watching. This is an open letter to him. And I have a little page here open about the man. I'm not going to mention his name, even though you can easily look it up. But he was born in May. Um, the Rageaholic actually wasn't his idea. The name, anyways. That was his editor's name. So I'll call him Razor throughout this video. This is pretty much for anyone who wants to watch. Actually, I encourage other people watching aside from Razor. You're going to learn something here. Um, Another popular video series of his known as Metal Mythos. Great show, where he talks in depth about a heavy metal band of his choice. Razor is apparently married. I thought he was just his girlfriend. Okay, that's cool. Now, he's also part of the Hey Bit podcast, which is cool. So yeah, a little something about him. Again, love the hair. I have hair just like that myself. And I love the catchphrase, "God fucking speed." All right. And he joined in 2009. Angry Joe joined October the previous year. And oddly enough, shortly around the time Razor joined, his content changed. So, just an observation. I'm not accusing him of anything. But here's kind of the problem, Razor. You and some other people have been making the same joke. And there's a problem with this joke. Not that it's offensive, because it's not, but is that it kind of muddies the water, right? Now, before I begin, I want to say this is not I'm not making fun of you. If anything, I love your fucking style. I'm not having a go. This isn't to talk shit about you or anything like that. I just want to raise something to your attention. That's all I want to do. Okay? I'm not trying to come at you, nothing like that. So, the joke is that leftists are spergs, right? Leftists are autistic. They're spergy. They stuff like that, which is funny, granted, but there's a problem with that. Statistically, there are more autistics who are right wing than left wing, and there are more people who are left wing with BPD. Now, if you don't know what that is, I don't blame you. It's a pretty unknown condition. But here's some symptoms, and I'll show more symptoms in a little bit. But impulsive and risky behavior. Sounds like the left, especially since the 60s, with the whole, oh, I gotta fuck everything that moves idea. Awareness of destructive behavior. That might be lack of awareness. Wide mood swings. I think we've all witnessed leftists do that, especially feminists. They'll be talking, they'll be normal. All of a sudden, you sexually harassed me! And then they just grow fucking claws and start shanking you in the eyeballs. Short but intense episodes of anxiety or depression. That's the same thing as the mood swings, but okay. Inappropriate anger. That's the left in general. Now, feminists especially have BPD. That being said, I don't think I've ever heard of a feminist who's a right-winger. You see what I mean? Like, they're all authoritarian leftists for some reason. Inappropriate anger. They're very inappropriately angry. They're angry at a man just for existing. That's pretty inappropriate. Difficulty controlling emotions or impulses. That would explain the I need to fuck everything, I need to do every drug, and I need to tear down every statue. Suicidal behavior. This one I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe suicide is more common on the left than the right. But it's hard to find data with that. Feeling misunderstood, neglected, or alone. Yeah, they feel pretty neglected and oddly misunderstood, even though they're the majority, at least in California and New York. Fear of being alone. That would explain why they want a totalitarian government to control everything. That's why. They want daddy government to be their daddy. Leftists, especially feminists, want a government to take care of them. That's authoritarian. feelings of self-hate and or self-loathing. Internalized misogyny, anybody? Remember that fucking word? Okay, let's go back here. Other things of BPD, there's whole lists of them. Okay. Let's go back to all. Okay. Symptoms of BPD. While some of the symptoms of BPD are not easily identified, others are associated with observable behaviors. Borderline personality disorder symptoms include instability in interpersonal relationships. I don't think it was you, Razor. It might have been the Honey Badgers, which I know you're a fan of Girl Writes What, but it might have been them who said when they were playing The Last of Us Part 2, they mentioned the lesbian couple, right? How they have such horrible fucking chemistry. Horrible chemistry. That there's no reason why these two are together. There's no fucking, I mean, it makes sense with my parents because they love each other and they take care of each other and they have reciprocal respect. These two fucking hate each other and there's no interpersonal relationship there. It's totally unstable. So that was written by feminists, by the way. That whole lesbian scene shit was written by feminist writers. That's what they see in relationships. Hate. That's why they think human rights is hate. That's why they think the right is hate. That's why they think Trump is hate. That's why they think the gay man is hate. Yeah, gays are no longer protected by feminists, by the way. Self-image and emotion. Self-image. You might as well say they're typically trans. Might as well just say that. And emotion. Yeah. Feminists are very emotional. More so emotional than autistics. As well as pattern of impulsive behavior. Impulsive. What did I mention about the 60s? Which you and I agree was a terrible decade. How to diagnose and treat. BPD is weird. It's one of the few disorders that you have to diagnose yourself. And I've met a lot of, I call them beepers. I've met a lot of beepers. Beepers, what the fuck? Beepers. I met a lot of beepers. And they fucking hate me because I'm on the autism spectrum, right? And well, I'm like barely on the spectrum. I have all the symptoms, but I don't have the brain wire thing. It's really weird. I kind of have like learned autism, kind of. It's confusing. But anyways, but back to that joke, right? And you said yourself it was a joke. It's just a joke. Don't take it personal. And by all means, I appreciate that. I really do. But I want to clarify this, that the joke doesn't even have a shred of truth. Okay. Now, if you call MRAs autistic, it'll stick because a lot of them are. My fiance and myself both advocate for human rights for everyone, including men and boys, and we're both somewhere on the spectrum. So, now to go to autism. Early signs and symptoms of autism include no babbling or pointing by age 1, no single words by 16 months, and 2-word phrases by age 2. No response to name, loss of language or social, I can't highlight that, loss of language or social skills. Okay, loss of social skills. Do feminists have loss of social skills? No, they're hypersocial. They're leftists and feminists. Antifa are leftists. BLM are feminists. They're both hypersocial, obsessed with social cues, obsessed with figuring out what is the authority behind words. And another symptom of BPD is inventing words, especially words that have connotations to authority. How many words do you and I know about, Razor, where feminists created a god complex where men are evil Satan and feminists are poor little old Job? right? Like, how many words have they invented like that? Man spreading, mansplaining, man-interrupting. They invent words. That's a symptom of BPD, not autism. Autism is developmental disorder, difficulties with social interaction and communication. This I think I can highlight. Yeah, social interaction and communication. So autistics are unable in many cases to communicate, or they suck at it. Here's a weird thing about autism. You have difficulty with communication for a long time, but if you're asked about something you know about, you'll talk for hours, right? You'll talk for hours. You'll just steamroll everyone because you know this subject. I'm that way with Mortal Kombat. I know the fucking timeline, the games, the characters. I know all that so fucking hard that I can talk about it for fucking hours. I might even make videos on it. Who knows, right? Just do an anthology series of MK and shit. That'd be kind of cool. Um, but yeah, restricting repetitive behavior. Um, okay, repetitive behavior is kind of a big thing in autism, but not in BPD. Repetitive behavior is like, kind of nodding back and forth, doing that obsessively, tapping your fingers excessively, repetitively, or you do like, but it's controlled, but I have no idea how that's affecting the audio, but I hope it's not too bad for you guys. I'm sorry if it is. Okay, though some children with autism experience worsening in their communication and social skills after reaching developmental milestones at a normal pace. Worsening in their communication and social skills. So that means after they hit the age of reason, a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, their communication and social skills get even worse. That is not the left. Inventing words, inventing concepts for pre-existing words is not something an autist would do. It's something a beeper would do. Whole cut cloth, absolutely something a beeper would do. BPD, back to that, is obsessed with the authority of words. And they're obsessed with being abandoned. Now, with their abandonment issues, they push people to abandon them. It's almost tragic, really. But they push people in the process of abandoning them. They almost encourage people to do what they fear the most. And in that sense, I really feel for beepers. I really do. Because that's got to be horrible. Really. But autistics, on the other hand, don't really have a fear of isolation or loneliness. They don't really have a fear of being abandoned. Instead, damn, I didn't want to do that. Instead, they just, fuck. They don't have a fear of being abandoned. But it just happens. They just get abandoned because they have trouble communicating. They can't put things into words. All the fucking I'm bilingual, so all the fucking time I'll ask Ale, my fiance, I'll ask her, "What's this in English again?" Or, I'll usually ask her that. And I'll tell her the word, like I'll say Schadenfreude, and she'll be like, that's that thing you Germans do when you get enjoyment from discomfort. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's the words. Cool. There's no actual English word for it, so that's why. But anyways, so that's just an example. But again, and here's one thing with autism I wanted to point out. Avoid eye contact and want to be alone. Autistics want to be alone. They want to be left alone. That's the right for the most part. They want to be left alone, especially by the government. Okay? Have trouble understanding other people's feelings or talking about their own feelings. Who talks about their feelings other than the left? Especially feminists. All they ever do is talk about their fucking feelings. That's all they ever do. To them, their feelings is the world. It's the law. It's code and conduct of the gladiatorial arena of words. To them, that is everything that exists, is their feelings. And, Autists have trouble understanding feelings. They have trouble talking about them and kind of experiencing them to a small degree, not fully, but to a small degree they kind of do, you know. And they don't really do pretend games all that much. I didn't as a kid, like at all, you know. Um, have delayed speech and language skills. It took me an extra year to fully get language down. Okay. Now I'm bilingual. So, but I learned a lot of German words when I was really, really young. And um, with that, I can still remember a lot of words. Like I'll remember the word in German, but I don't remember what it translates into. So I'll look up the word and I'll be like, oh shit, why was I thinking that word? Right? Like happens to me all the time. So, but that's a lot to do with the language skill issues, right? Repeat words or phrases over and over. I do that all the time, all the time. So again, so again, the thing is, you know, look, I get it. It's a joke. I get it, and you admit it's a joke, not to be taken seriously. Hey, more power to you. I appreciate you saying that. I really do. I really do. But people kind of need to know the difference here, right? And you yourself have said, Razor, because I asked you this question: what do you think of the legal system and how it treats men? And you said, well, I think the legal system is pretty harsh on men. No, wait a minute. No, I know it's harsh on men. It's harsher on men than women. You admit that. You wholeheartedly admit that. And hey, good on you. You are red pilled. Nice to know. Great. If you don't aspire to that label, then that's fine. But still, you are well aware of the legal disparities in the law. Autism is principally male. Vast majority of autists are male. And a lot of autistic females are in the men's rights movement for some reason. The vast majority of beepers are female. It's a principally female disorder. BPD can happen in men. Actually, BPD in men is more common than autism in women, by the way. But they're still rare in the opposite gender. Both of them. They're still pretty rare in the opposite gender. And that's why a lot of women who have autism get diagnosed much later in life. That being said, a lot of women with BPD get misdiagnosed as having autism. I think I just saw a case the other day, right? BPD, you stare into people's souls. You just, like that big open wide evil eye into the soul of your enemy. Like that's a beeper thing. That's not an autism thing. Autism, you look down, you look away. You don't look at their eyes. For years, I never looked anyone in the fucking eye. Or I could look at them in the eye for like 2.5 seconds and then I have to look away. I couldn't focus my eyes on them. That was a big problem I had. And I had a big problem with speech and talking about my feelings and talking about things. So a lot of that has to do with autism, okay? Which is a developmental disorder. BPD is emotional dysregulation disorder. Doesn't really say what kind of disorder it is. Actually, I diagnosed mental or personality disorder. Okay, serious mental illness that usually begins in your late teens or early 20s. Now, that's kind of important. Oh, I can't highlight that. Fuck. Begins in your late teens or early 20s. What group of people were in their late teens and early 20s when Trump was president? College people. What did college people do when Trump was president? They needed fucking blankets and crayons. Okay, that especially in leftist areas, leftist states, California especially. I lived in California during that time, and now I'm in fucking Iowa. But anyways, and again, that they had a big issue with that. Leftists specifically. The right was not crying, hugging puppies and shit when Trump was elected. The left was. Abso-fucking-lutely, right? They were absolutely needing to hug pillows and puppies and shit like that, and because someone they don't like was president. That's not an autism thing, and I'm pretty sure you remember that because you kind of addressed it kind of in one of your videos. Great video, by the way, but where you kind of dropped the character and you were like, "Hey guys, look, don't be afraid. Everything's fine. Just, you know, we're not all gonna die. It's okay." And that was a beautiful video, beautiful. So good on you for that. So okay. Um, Again, Razor, you can drop the joke. You can keep going. It's fun. Whatever you do, I will respect you. Whatever you do. Because you have admitted that this is a joke, not to be taken seriously. But for those that do take it seriously, I wanted to explain this. You know, that BPD is a principally female disorder, especially in the left. For some reason, leftists always seem to have BPD, specifically feminists, right? And feminists are I've never seen one that was a right winger. Not even one. Not even fucking one. And they're all fucking extreme leftists who are communists and shit. Antifa is a bunch of beepers. BLM is fucking all. Um, they're a feminist organization full of fucking beepers. And okay, I should have mentioned this earlier, but keep in mind, black men are men too. I know BLM doesn't want to acknowledge their existence, but guys, stop giving them money. This is kind of an aside, but stop giving them money. They don't care about black men unless it's convenient to their narrative. They only see black men as black. They don't see them as men. And once they get rid of Whitey, guess who's next? So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. So yeah, citizen men and women. I mean, kind of a different aside, but again, autism. The notion that leftists, especially feminists, are autistic is it. You're basically blaming a tornado for something an earthquake did. Two totally different types of damage, right? Totally different types. you know, it's just, and again, like Razor, I don't have a problem with you making these kinds of jokes. I really don't. I don't. This was not to attack you. This wasn't. This was hopefully to kind of tell your audience that that joke is just a joke. It's not anything more than that, right? And you've even mentioned as a joke a few times about the leftists sperging and reeing and all that stuff. Reeing is not something autistics do. I don't know why people think it is. Reeing is something beepers do. It is. Because, again, if you have loss of language or social skills, you're not going to create a new word or a new sound or a new phrase. You know what I mean? You're not going to create a lexicon. But if you are hyper social, obsessed with social words and components and social authority, beepers are very big authoritarians. Autistics are very big libertarians. That's just how it goes, right? Beepers want to be taken care of by the state. Autists want to be left the fuck alone by the state. Okay, that's just how it works. That's just how it works. And that describes feminism as BPD and the MRM as autistic. The MRM just wants to be left the fuck alone and given some human rights once in a while. Feminists want to be taken care of and coddled like little children and destroy half the population. So, yeah. I'll let you guess which one's the actual human rights organization. What do you want, cat? My cat's pestering me. Anyways, so yeah, Razor. Hope you enjoyed that little video. Um, Again, keep up the good content. Fuck. Well, howdy. Keep up the good content, and as you would say in your eloquent elocution, God fucking speed.